Hi everybody. After my first video on the brew day, I've decided to move outside today. It's a little bit cooler, but it's a nice sunny day and it gives me a chance to cover the second item I want to try and video. Basically cleaning kegs. I started kegging very early 2020, just before COVID hit, and the first few months of cleaning kegs I used to fill them with sodium percarbonate, warm water, let them soak about half full, and then invert the keg so it cleaned the top half, and then I'd pump a bit of CO2 into the keg, and then connect disconnects to let the liquid come out through the dip tube. And I kind of hoped that worked. I never had any actual problems. The kegs did seem to get clean, but then I noticed a video by a guy called Gash on the Homebrew Network in Australia, and he got a thing called a bucket master from Kegland. So late 2020 was after one of the many lockdowns. Company in Nottingham I used called Brew Day got them for sale, so I purchased one, and I'd just like to go through it now with you. I'll talk about the cost and whether I think it's actually worth it towards the end, but for now I'll just show you basically what's in the box. So here it is. That's the box I picked it up in. There's a lid for the box which keeps the dust out. All these bits and pieces do come separately. You do have to connect them. So there's different, I think that's one length of lead that you have to cut, following the instructions. Then we have a submersible pump. It is actually a pond pump. I've seen them for sale on Amazon, exactly the same pump. Mine did come with the wrong plug on. Now I obviously could chop that off. I did contact the company I bought it from, and it was a mistake. They hadn't opened the box. They hadn't realised it had got the wrong plug on. They'd been sent the wrong ones. However, he did suggest one of these, which I was a bit slow on picking up on. You can get a converter to the UK 3-pin, and it simply plugs in, and I've been using it and no trouble at all. Bless them, they did actually say they'd pay for the adapter as well, but I said no, I'll just, I'm just happy you suggested it. I'd never seen them for sale. So anyway, so that got around that problem. There's a stainless steel stand which fits inside the bucket for you to rest your kegs on, and the pump sits on with suction feet. There, yeah, I think you can see where the feet have been sitting on the bottom of there. Then length of plastic tube that screws in the pump with a reducer on the end. So I do have now let's get it right, Firmzilla, is it? The all-rounder. What I found with that, because you can actually clean those with this as well, if that is on the end reducing it, the spray blasts up to the top of the bottom of the inverted fermenter, and comes down in. It doesn't actually coat the whole of the bottom, so I actually find I've got to take that off for that, which means more, a thicker jet of water comes out, and it came down evenly over the bottom. But for kegs. This seems to work fine with that on. And then 2 disconnects, one for the beer out, one for the gas in, obviously. Got these on the pump. Forgot they're separated, so you've got a threaded adapter there, and then that T-piece goes on there. So the idea is you screw that into there, like so. You then screw that threaded adapter into there. And on the end of these, you fasten your 2 disconnects, like so. Come on. There we go. So there we have it. So this sits in a mixture of sodium bicarbonate, or I've used a chemical which I'll show you shortly. Water goes in the pump there. The cat's going crazy around the garden. Water goes in the pump there, and then it's split. It goes up this tube through the inverted keg which sits on top of that frame, so it's blasting into the keg, and also it's coming out the side there through this pipe work to the 2 disconnects which are connected to your keg, and it's cleaning all the pipe work inside, internally, and the inside of your keg as well, so it works quite well. Now, I was talking about the cleaner. Now, the branded expensive make, I think it's called, all of those of it is Vanish oxy-active cleaner. This is the old cheap version, available from most likely from a pound shop or a Home Bargains or one of those type of shops near you. So it's Astonish, it's oxy-active plus, fabric stain remover, non-bio, and it's not scented, so no that's the last thing you want is perfumed beer. Yeah, so that's what I use. Right, there we are, that's it set up in its bucket. So we'll get some water and get it filled up, and we'll see what happens. Right, here we have my empty keg. Let's release the pressure. This had a pale ale made with the Amarillo. Pop all keg lid and the O-ring. Put those in the bottom of the bucket. Yeah. You probably can't see in there. Hold on a minute. This may work or it may not work. Whether you can actually see in there or not. That may have been unsuccessful. I'll do it first. Like I said, you give it a tip this into my bucket here. Let's have a look. most of it off there, can't see anything there. Right, so now let's get the bucket. Right, I'm going to get a slight more water. There we go. Now there's liquid in there. Those suction cups on the bottom of the pump, now it's wet, stick firmly down to that metal plate on the bottom. So now, just wet these posts. So we've got in is there, gas. Is out. Right. Let us. The only difficulty or awkwardness can be tucking those pipes in, getting the disconnects in the correct position. There we go. Is that on? That's on there. So there we go. So now we just have to turn it on. And there we go. I'll just take the camera off and just show you the colour of the water already. Right, I don't know whether you can see, but the water's certainly gone from a clear colour to a slightly brown colour. So it's working. And if you feel the side of the keg, yeah, nice and warm with the water, so it's jetting out inside. There we have it. I'm not going to labour the point too long. It's a boring thing to watch if you're watching it too long. And I do have several kegs to clean today. I try to, by the time I get this set up, it's not a lot of trouble, but if I've got 3 or 4 kegs doing, it's best just to do them all at the same time once you've got it set up. Right. What do I think of the bucket blaster? Is it value for money? Does it work? Well, without a doubt it works, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I thought I was getting my kegs clean before. I may have not have been quite getting as clean as they needed to be, but as I say, never caused me any problems. But I wasn't too long before I bought this anyway. And yes, you've only got to see the colour of the water, it changes. It is removing deposits from the inside of the keg, which other methods may not. I purchased mine for around about £65, I think it was. I looked today before I made this video and they're selling for about £89, I believe. Like everything, they've gone up in price. Is it worth the £60 odd I paid? Is it worth the £89 it's going for now? When you look what's in it, probably not. It's not worth it. It's a lot of money for a plastic bucket, a pond pump, which I've seen for about £14, somewhere around there on Amazon, and a few different connectors and the plastic tubing. I think the thing that you're going to have a job sorting out is the metal stand that fits inside the bucket for your keg to sit on. But I've seen people that then cut the lid have a pipe coming up through the middle, and they sit the keg on that, which will work perfectly fine. Some cutouts for the pipes to the disconnects, that's fine. I don't know whether I'd pay 89, that's a lot of money. 65 isn't that far below it. At the time, I did look around at sourcing the connectors, the pipe work, the adapters, and I couldn't really find anywhere that obviously sold them. And I took the easy option. I paid the money and bought this. It's there, ready to go. Another brewer in Nottingham, I did get involved in a conversation with him over Facebook, I believe it was. I mentioned I'd bought one, and he asked if I could send him some photographs of the bits and pieces, and I have no doubt that it would have cost him less than this cost me. But I did have the money at the time, I purchased it, I'm happy with my purchase. I think it works fantastic, but as I say, if you manage to source the parts, I'm sure yours will work fine as well. But there you go, I hope it's been of some use, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Hi, right, just to clarify, it wasn't until after I'd finished filming. What I first started using when cleaning kegs was sodium percarbonate, purchased from various brewing suppliers, and it's very expensive, costs a fortune. Now this, I've seen other people use it, I didn't just use it without checking up, but the ingredient in this is sodium carbonate peroxy. Now I think it should be hydrate, the Y is missing. Sodium carbonate peroxydrate, I think it means peroxyhydrate. Get me P's and Q's muddled up here again. Basically, put sodium carbonate peroxyhydrate into a search engine, and it comes up with sodium percarbonate. So I started off using the expensive stuff, now moved on to this, and it seems great. So okay, cheers.